hot chicken?
Nope, it's not. It's USA Today saying Microsoft stocks are up.
Oh, you got some stocks in USA today?
No, it's just the news app telling me they're up.
Your grandpa and I bought the farm in 1957, so it's been in the family for over 56 years now. It was part of an estate. The fellow who owned it had passed away, and he was a chicken farmer. And so there were not only the house and a big barn, but a multitude of chicken coops. And the house was very, quote-unquote, primitive, you might say. It did not have central heat. It had a wood stove in the kitchen and a wood stove in the living room. The bathroom was marginal, let's put it that way. Depended upon the heat from the kitchen stove to keep the water flowing. And actually, when we first moved in, we noticed burn marks all along the baseboard following the pipes into the bathroom. Obviously, Mr. Young had had troubles in that department and had thawed out the pipes with a Burns torch, which could have had rather drastic results. Yes, indeed, we did run a farm stand, and which actually what we did was to turn what was a kind of a one-car garage into a farm stand. And at that point we grew a lot of our own vegetables, and we also used to buy wholesale from Bud Conroy in Newport. Actually, the boys, they were in charge of running the stand, and I think they were 8 or 9 years old at that point in time. The boys built a sugar house out of material that we took out of one of the chicken coops, and we had a small barrel evaporator, and we used to make maple syrup. We tapped some of the trees coming up the hill and a few others around, and we used to sell that in the stand. And then I grew flowers, and we sold flowers also. And of course, tomatoes and corn were the most popular items, plus we used to have a great demand for bunches of baby carrots. Those were very, very popular. People liked to use those for hors d'oeuvres or with dips and so forth. Oh, well, the chinchillas go way, way back. Back then, chinchillas had become very popular as a fur-bearing animal, and we used to put the cages in the woodshed. But part of the problems was that the females would sometimes kill the babies, and then they also would chew their fur. Well, of course, once they chewed their fur, why, then it was worthless. It didn't take too long to decide that was not the way we were going to make our millions. The boys were growing up. Actually, Fred got married and had a little daughter, so they came back to live with us for a while. Zan was still home. Your dad was out on his own. And then came the fall and early winter of '79. And your dad, who was working for Newport Sand and Gravel at that time, driving a cement truck, went up over the cement truck. Somehow in mid-air he managed to turn himself around. When he landed, he broke both his arms. So then he came home. Well, it did get a little bit tight quarters. We decided at that point the thing to do was to give each one of the children a part of the farm. That way they would have their own land and they could build as they were able. Mr. Snow had plans of building the old house was supposed to become part of the Sugar River Bank was going to take that over and remodel it. We negotiated with them, and after quite a bit of back and forth and up and down and so forth, we did sell them the lot that had the original house on it, what was left of the chicken coops, and the big main barn, which amounted to about 5 acres. Harry Snow was involved also. So he built us a house up the hill, which of course is the living room that we're sitting in right now. Your Uncle Fred went from living in a trailer to building a home on his property and has lived there ever since. Auntie Anne, of course, graduated and ultimately built herself a home on her lot. And of course, your dad has added to and changed the two-car garage considerably since he built that, and has also built a nice shop for himself, which he uses in his business. And so here we are, some 56 years later.